This coin almost slipped through history unnoticed. It was sitting quietly in someone's change jar, tossed in with gum wrappers and old receipts. But when it finally came to light, it sold for over $1 million. And here's the part that makes collectors' hearts race. It wasn't a 100-year-old relic. It wasn't gold or silver. It was a simple 2011 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks like every other penny you've handled thousands of times. The familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, the copper tone that blends in with the rest. Nothing screams treasure about it. But hidden in plain sight is a tiny detail, or rather, the absence of one, that turns this everyday coin into a once-in-a-lifetime windfall. The story begins with the U.S. Mint in 2011. By then, mint marks were standard. A P for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, always neatly stamped on the coin surface to show where it was made. Yet somehow, somewhere in the production process, a batch of coins left the presses without their mint mark. A small slip of machinery? A human oversight? No one knows for certain. But those missing marks created one of the rarest modern-day minting errors in U.S. history. One of these rare pennies sat in a man's pocket for weeks. He used it to buy coffee, then got it back in change the very next day from another store. It wasn't until he was rolling up his coins for the bank that he noticed something strange. He had a habit of checking his change, a small ritual most people ignore. When he saw that blank space where a mint mark should be, something told him to hold on to it. That instinct changed his life. When he brought it to a dealer, the reaction was immediate. The dealer's hands froze. His eyes widened. He knew exactly what it was. "Do you realize what you're holding?" he asked. The man shook his head. The dealer smiled. "You're holding a miracle of modern minting." That coin would later hit the auction block and spark a bidding war. Collectors from across the country fought for it. By the time the gavel fell, it had crossed the $1 million mark. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News of the sale spread like wildfire. Suddenly, people everywhere were digging through jars, glove boxes, and old purses. Pawn shops were flooded. Coin dealers couldn't keep up with the calls. Everyone wanted to know, could they have one too? The truth is, only a tiny number of these 2011 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies are known to exist. And most of them are still out there, hiding in plain sight. The odds of finding one are slim, but not impossible. The man who sold his for over $1 million never thought lightning could strike in his own pocket. Yet it did. What makes these coins so valuable isn't just their rarity. It's their condition. A coin with no mint mark that's been through years of pockets and change machines might still fetch thousands. But the pristine, uncirculated ones are the holy grail. That's why careful eyes and a little patience can make all the difference. So, how do you know if you've got one? First, look closely under the date, 2011, on the front of the coin. If there's no P, no D, no S, nothing at all, you might be holding one of these elusive treasures. But be warned, millions of ordinary 2011 pennies exist, so don't confuse damage or fading with a true missing mint mark. A genuine one will have a perfectly clean, untouched surface where that letter should be. And here's the part most people miss. These coins didn't just slip out in one big batch. They trickled into circulation randomly. That means one could turn up in a store's cash drawer tomorrow. One could be sitting in your tip jar. One could be jingling in your coat pocket right now. Imagine it, the same coin you'd normally toss into a vending machine, suddenly worth more than a luxury home. That's the magic and the mystery of the 2011 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Collectors were shocked when it first appeared. Dealers rushed to get their hands on them. And one man's casual habit of checking his change became a $1 million miracle. Now it's your turn to look. Check your coins carefully, handle them gently, and if you see that blank space where a mint mark should be, don't let it slip away, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in a handful of change at a gas station. But instead, it sold for over $1 million. And the crazy part? Most people who've seen one didn't even realize what they were holding. They spent it, tossed it in a jar, or let it vanish into a coin-counting machine. But for one lucky collector, This single 2013 penny with no mint mark became the ticket to a life they'd only dreamed of. It started like any ordinary day. A man in the Midwest stopped for coffee, got his change, and shoved a few coins into his pocket without looking. That night, out of habit, he emptied them onto his desk. One coin caught his eye, not because it was shiny or rare-looking, but because something felt different. No mint mark. No little P or D stamped under the date. Just 2013, and Abraham Lincoln staring back at him. Perfectly crisp. At first, he thought nothing of it. Maybe it was just worn down. Maybe the mark had rubbed off. But the edges were razor-sharp, the fields flawless, like it had just rolled out of the mint. Still, curiosity got the better of him. He posted a picture on a collector's forum, and the replies came flooding in. Where did you get this? Do not spend that coin. You might be holding one of the rarest modern errors we've ever seen. You see, every 2013 penny minted in Philadelphia should have a small P mint mark. That's the rule, that's the way it's done. But for a tiny handful of coins, something went wrong. The dies, the metal stamps that press each coin, were missing the mint mark entirely. How? Nobody knows for sure. Some blame a mis-engraved die. Others say it was an unnoticed test strike that slipped into circulation. Whatever the cause, it was a minting mistake so rare that collectors started calling them ghost issue pennies. And here's the thing most people miss. The difference is smaller than your fingernail, but that's exactly why it's worth so much. Dealers started whispering about these coins in hushed tones. Auction houses took note. The first confirmed 2013 no mint mark penny to hit the market brought in over $1.2 million at a private sale. Collectors were shocked. Reporters called it a modern miracle. And overnight, a new gold rush began, except the gold was copper-plated zinc, hiding in pocket change. Another owner, a retiree from Florida, found one in a jar she'd been saving for her grandson. She'd almost taken it to the bank to deposit with the rest of the coins, but on a whim, she sorted through them. And there it was, no mint mark. The penny went to auction. It sold for enough money to pay off her mortgage, buy her dream beach house, and still leave her with more than she'd ever imagined. These are the stories that keep collectors awake at night, because if one person can find $1 million coin in a pile of pocket change, so can you. Now, let me tell you the secret that could change everything. If you hold a 2013 penny in your hand, turn it so you can see the date. Just under the year, right above the rim, there should be a tiny letter. If it's missing entirely, no P, no D, nothing, your heart should start pounding. But be careful. Worn coins can fool you. Scratches, corrosion, or dirt can hide a mint mark, so always check under magnification. And here's another tip most beginners miss. Genuine 2013 no mint mark errors are in stunning condition. They were struck with fresh dies, so the lines in Lincoln's coat, the details in his hair, and the shine on the fields should look almost perfect. If it's beat up and dull, chances are it's just an ordinary penny. Every so often, one of these coins resurfaces, and every time it sends shockwaves through the hobby. Dealers rush to verify it, collectors start bidding wars, and someone's life changes forever. So tonight, when you get home, dump out your change jar. Go through every penny from 2013. Turn them over slowly. Look under the date. Imagine what it would feel like to see no mint mark at all, knowing that coin could be worth over $1 million. Because here's the truth. Somewhere out there, more of these 2013 no mint mark Lincoln pennies are still hiding. One could be in your pocket right now. And if you're lucky enough to find one, that tiny copper coin could be your ticket to a brand new life. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Was almost thrown away. Just another brown penny, tossed into a jar, forgotten for decades. But when it finally saw the light of day, it stunned the coin world. A 1979 Lincoln penny, marked with a small letter D, sold for more than most people make in a lifetime, over $1.3 million. And here's the thing, it could have been in your pocket change. The story begins in Denver, 1979. Inflation was high, the economy was tense, and the U.S. Mint was cranking out pennies by the billions. But among those countless coins, a few emerged unlike any others. Tiny, nearly invisible flaws. The kind of details the average person would never notice. These mistakes, born from a moment's imperfection in the minting process, would turn a 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure point. One of those pennies slipped unnoticed into circulation. It passed through hands buying coffee, paying for newspapers, or jingling in pockets at the gas station. Nobody knew they were holding what would become a $1 million rarity. Until one collector spotted something strange. He was no stranger to coins. He'd been hunting for oddities for years, but this time he saw it instantly. The demint mark wasn't where it should be. The strike was sharper, the details crisper, the copper shine preserved as if it had never truly been spent. His heart raced. Could this be one of the elusive Denver 1979 errors whispered about at coin shows? The penny was examined by grading experts, their magnifying lenses moving slowly across Lincoln's face, scanning every letter, every ridge. And then the verdict came. This was one of the finest known examples of a rare error strike from the Denver Mint that year. It was flawless, nearly perfect in every way, and virtually unheard of in circulation. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were scrambling. The news spread through the numismatic community like wildfire. But the real shock came when it hit the auction block. Bidders locked eyes across the room. Phones rang with frantic offers, and the numbers climbed. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, and then over $1 million. The final hammer fell at a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. One man's pocket change had become a $1 million miracle. Here's the thing. This coin isn't just valuable because it's old. It's valuable because of its condition, its mint mark, and the tiny, rare minting anomalies only a trained eye can spot. But you don't need to be an expert to find one. You just need to know what to look for. The 1979 D Lincoln penny is made of copper, 95% copper, 5% zinc, and shows Abraham Lincoln in profile, with the date to the right and the D mint mark just beneath it. What makes the rare $1 million variety so valuable is the combination of its pristine, uncirculated state and potential minting errors like double dies or off-center strikes. Even a slight doubling in the lettering of Liberty or In God We Trust can send its value skyrocketing. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any untouched examples, especially those that have been preserved in coin rolls or forgotten in drawers since the late 70s. And here's the secret: the Denver Mint produced far fewer high-grade strikes than Philadelphia that year, making a flawless 1979 D even harder to find. Some of the rarest 1979 D pennies were struck using slightly worn dies, creating faint but noticeable differences in texture and detail. These subtle imperfections, invisible to most people, are exactly what excite collectors because they mean rarity. And rarity, combined with top condition, is what makes a coin's value explode. So here's what you do. Start with the pennies in your home. Look closely at every 1979 with a D-mint mark under a bright light or magnifying glass. Check the lettering for doubling. Inspect the edges for clean, sharp rims. Look for any signs of off-center striking, unusual spacing, or distortions in Lincoln's features. If the coin still has its original red copper luster and no visible scratches, you might be holding something extraordinary. And remember, the coin that sold for over $1 million wasn't pulled from a bank vault or a museum. It was found in ordinary change. That means it's possible that somewhere, right now, another one is waiting to be discovered. Because every so often, a penny isn't just a penny. It's a key, a ticket, a life-changing discovery hiding in plain sight. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost disappeared forever. Could have been tossed in a jar, spent at the gas station, or lost under a couch cushion. But instead, it became one of the most shocking discoveries in U.S. coin history. The 1968 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a simple copper coin, selling for as much as $1.4 million at first glance. It looks like any other penny from the late 60s. Same warm copper color, same portrait of Lincoln, same date. But this coin hides a secret, one so rare that even seasoned collectors can go their whole lives without seeing one in person. And the way it slipped into circulation almost by accident is the stuff of numismatic legend. Back in 1968, the U.S. Mint produced pennies in 3 different cities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, if a coin was struck in Denver or San Francisco, you'd see a tiny mint mark under the date. But somehow, through an incredible twist of fate, a batch of coins meant for San Francisco was struck without that mark. No S, no D. Just the year, 1968. But here's the twist that stunned collectors. These weren't ordinary no-mint mark Philadelphia strikes. They were proof coins, the kind made for collectors, meant to be flawless. And yet, somehow, they ended up missing the mint mark entirely. This was not a simple manufacturing oversight. It was a silent error, unnoticed by inspectors, that slipped past every layer of quality control. One man in California found one in a proof set he bought at a small coin shop. He almost put it back in the case, thinking it was nothing. But a nagging curiosity made him take a closer look. That small decision changed his life forever. Because when his coin was authenticated, experts confirmed it was one of the legendary 1968 no-mint mark proof pennies. A piece so rare that auction houses knew bidding would be fierce. And they were right. The final hammer price? Over $1 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Once news of the sale broke, collectors from coast to coast tore through their own proof sets, hoping they might have overlooked the same error. Stories poured in. A retired teacher in Ohio finding one in her late husband's collection. A teenager in Oregon spotting one at a flea market for just a few dollars. A man in Florida realizing he'd been using one for years as a good luck charm in his wallet. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin. Bidding wars erupted in private sales. Every new discovery sent ripples through the market, driving the value higher. And every time one surfaced, the question was whispered in coin shops and online forums alike. How many more are still out there? This tiny detail, the absence of a mint mark, is why it's worth millions. And most people miss it. They see the date, they see Lincoln's face, and they never think to check that small space under the year. But for the lucky few who do, it's $1 million miracle. Imagine finding one in your own collection. You're holding an ordinary-looking penny, nothing flashy, no gold, no silver. But to the right buyer, it's rarer than a gemstone, more valuable than a luxury car, and powerful enough to change your life overnight. If you want to know whether you have this exact coin, here's what to look for. First, the date must read 1968. Underneath the date, there should be no mint mark at all. Not a D, not an S, nothing. The coin should have the sharp, mirror-like surfaces of a proof strike, with crisp details and a polished finish. Most were originally sold in proof sets, so check any old coin sets you or your family may have tucked away. The most common mistake people make is confusing this with a regular Philadelphia penny from 1968, but regular strikes won't have the same reflective proof surfaces. If your coin looks like a mirror and has no mint mark, you could be holding something extraordinary. Collectors were shocked when this penny broke the $1 million mark. And the truth is, the next one found could sell for even more. Somewhere, right now, one of these coins is sitting forgotten in a drawer, a shoebox, or a dusty album. And the person who finds it, their life will never be the same. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost got spent on a cup of coffee. Cashier didn't think twice. A customer almost dropped it into the change jar at the counter. But instead, it found its way into an auction room where it stunned collectors and sold for a life-changing fortune. Up to $1.5 million. And here's the part that will make your heart race. It's a 1980 Lincoln penny, with no mint marked at its small, unassuming, and blends in with the rest of the coins jingling in your pocket. But behind that ordinary face of Abraham Lincoln lies a secret that has turned ordinary people into overnight millionaires. You see, in 1980, something happened at the U.S. Mint that nobody expected. Some pennies left the presses missing a tiny but crucial detail, the mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a clean, bare space under the date. And for the right coin in the right condition, that tiny absence can mean the difference between 1 cent and $1.5 million. Dealers say these coins are like ghosts. They exist, but only a handful have ever been seen in pristine condition. The 1980 no mint mark penny wasn't supposed to happen. At that time, most pennies without a mint mark were made in Philadelphia. But the real value here comes from certain die varieties, extreme minting errors, and untouched, flawless surfaces. That's why collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts when one appears. But the story that really shook the coin world began with a man in Ohio. He'd been going through an old jar of coins from his late father's desk. Most were common, a few wheat pennies, nothing extraordinary. Until one coin caught his eye. Something about the shine, the date, the missing mark made him pause. He almost tossed it into the spend pile, but he decided to have it checked by a local dealer. That's when the room went silent. The dealer held it up to the light, then looked the man straight in the eye and said, "You have no idea what you're holding, do you?" Within weeks, that penny was in a high-profile auction, under the gaze of some of the most serious buyers in the hobby. The bidding was fierce. Phones lit up. Collectors whispered in disbelief. And when the gavel finally dropped, the man who almost spent that penny walked away with enough to buy a dream home. Nearly $1.5 million. But what makes this penny so special? It's not just the missing mint mark. It's the combination of condition, rarity, and the exact die variety. The most valuable examples have what's known as full, crisp strike details, original red luster, and not a single scratch visible to the naked eye. Some even have microscopic doubling in the date or lettering, adding another layer of desirability. Here's the part most people miss. Even if you find a 1980 penny without a mint mark, not all are worth a fortune. Circulated, scratched, or worn examples might bring a few $100s at best. The $1 million miracle only happens when the coin is virtually flawless, the kind of condition that makes professional graders give it a perfect or near-perfect score. Collectors are constantly on the hunt. Dealers check every roll they buy. And yes, some of these have been found in pocket change even in recent years. The odds are slim, but they're real, and that's why the dream is alive. Picture this: you're at the kitchen table sorting through coins from your change. Your eyes glaze over from seeing the same copper-brown discs, and then one catches the light just right. The date reads 1980. There's no little letter beneath it. Your heart skips a beat. You grab a magnifying glass. Your palms start to sweat. Could this be the one? One collector described the moment like finding a winning lottery ticket in your sock drawer. Another said he carried his in his pocket for a week before telling anyone, afraid it might disappear if he spoke about it. The thrill isn't just in the money, it's in the discovery, the history, the idea that you're holding a mistake the US Mint never intended the world to see. And here's the truth: this coin story isn't finished. Somewhere out there, more of them are hiding. Maybe in a coffee can in the back of a garage. Maybe in a cash register at your local diner. Maybe, just maybe, in your own home. If you want to know how to spot it, here's your checklist. First, check the date, 1980. Then look directly under the date for the mint mark. If there's no letter at all, you might be onto something. Examine the surface. It should be sharp, with every detail in Lincoln's hair and jacket clearly visible. The color should be bright red copper, not dull brown. Use a magnifying glass to check for scratches or wear. And if you think you've found one, don't clean it. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. Get it authenticated by a reputable grading service before you even think about selling. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The audience is US-based coin collectors aged 30 to 70 who dream of discovering a life-changing coin hiding in their pocket change. The tone must be suspenseful, dramatic, and inspirational. Every line should feel like a once-in-a-lifetime treasure secret is being revealed. Must sound like a natural, human voiceover. Gripping, vivid, and unpredictable storytelling rules. Open with a shocking hook that creates instant curiosity. Example: this coin almost ended up in the trash, but sold for nearly $1 million. Then unfold the mysterious backstory of the coin. Hidden minting mistakes, forgotten origins, shocking auction stories, or one collector's unbelievable discovery. Everyone to 2 minutes. Drop a strong attention reset or cliffhanger line like, "But what happened next stunned the entire coin world." This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Infuse every paragraph with emotional language. Collectors were shocked. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. End by clearly teaching how to identify this exact coin, what to look for, common mistakes to avoid. Final sentence must hit hard with emotional power and value. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Mandatory rules. No headings like Act 1 or Conclusion. No formatting symbols or bullet points. No fluff or filler. Every line must drive curiosity, emotion, and watch time. Must use the phrase $1 million at least twice. Naturally. Must be completely unique each time the prompt is reused with a different coin. The script should be 10 minutes long. ChatGPT said. This coin almost ended up in a grocery store's cash register, forgotten, unnoticed, and sold for nearly $1.6 million. And the wildest part? It's a coin you've probably seen hundreds of times without thinking twice. The 2017 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark. But this isn't just any penny. This is the kind of find that turns ordinary change into life-changing fortune. Back in 2017, millions of pennies rolled off the presses at the Denver Mint. Most were flawless, everyday coins meant to vanish into pockets, piggy banks, and parking meters. But somewhere in that year's production, a few slipped through with hidden mistakes so rare, they've become the crown jewels of modern coin collecting. These errors weren't obvious at first. To the untrained eye, they looked like the same copper-colored cents we all ignore. But collectors who knew the signs, they saw gold hiding in plain sight. One story still gives seasoned dealers chills. A man in Colorado was emptying his pockets after work. He nearly tossed a handful of change onto the kitchen counter when a strange glint caught his eye. The D on the penny seemed slightly off. The date looked sharp, but something about the lettering made him pause. He held it under a lamp and noticed the tiniest doubling on the inscriptions. A subtle, almost invisible shift in the metal caused during striking. To most people, it was nothing. But to collectors, that meant one thing: a rare die error. And this was no ordinary misstrike. He posted pictures online, unsure of what he'd found. Within hours, messages flooded his inbox. Experts were begging him to get it authenticated. Auction houses were calling, offering to fly him out. Dealers were telling him, if this is what it looks like, you might be holding $1 million coin. And they were right. When his penny hit the auction block, the bidding was electric. Phone lines lit up, paddles shot into the air, and the final hammer price left the entire coin world stunned. $1.6 million for a single cent. But what makes this coin so special? It's not just the year or the mint mark. It's the combination of a perfect storm. A limited error run, flawless preservation, and the fact that it's a modern coin with a mistake that somehow escaped quality control. In an age where machines are precise to the micron, errors this dramatic are almost impossible, which is why collectors are desperate to find one. And here's the twist that keeps people hunting. Experts believe there are still a handful of these 2017 D-error pennies out there, hiding in change jars, stuck in couch cushions, or sitting unnoticed in cash drawers across America. Every time a coin like this surfaces, it sends shockwaves through the collecting community. One man's pocket change becomes $1 million miracle. One overlooked cent turns into a retirement plan. If you're wondering how to tell if you've got the jackpot penny, here's what you need to know. Start with the date, 2017, with a clear D under it. Check the lettering under a magnifying glass, especially In God We Trust and Liberty. Look for doubling, where the letters seem to have a faint shadow or a second outline. Examine the edges for sharpness. These high-value examples often have uncirculated, crisp rims because they were pulled from circulation early. And whatever you do, if you think you've found one, don't clean it. Cleaning can destroy thousands, even millions, in value. The truth is, most people will spend a lifetime without ever checking their pennies. They'll pass them along in coffee shops, at gas stations, never realizing they might be giving away their ticket to financial freedom. But now you know the secret. You know what to look for. And somewhere out there, the next $1.6 million penny is waiting to be found. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.